Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this a regularly scheduled meeting of the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners to order. Since we're running a little bit late tonight, I'm going to dispense of the invocation and the pledge, since we did that at the public hearing, and I think most of you were here for that. So we'll go ahead and move into recognitions, resolutions, and presentations. But before we do that, the approval of the agenda. Ms. Daniels, you got any additions or deletions?
Yes, we have 3 additions under section 4, number 24, request board approval of a letter to Florida Public Utilities. 25, request board approval of NRCS grant application for Fillmore Drive. And 26, request board approval of change order number 1 for Charm Road.
And before we approve the agenda, could we also ask if we could move, I think we've got a couple of items on here where we've got a number of people that are in attendance to either speak about or hear the discussion. Also, we've got item number 21, which is the update on the Spring Creek litter ordinance. Can we move that to under, I guess, can we move that up right before, I guess maybe right after the public hearing? So we can go ahead and, is that okay with the board? Okay.
Yeah, make a motion to that effect.
Okay, got a motion from Commissioner Peacock.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Branch. Any questions, comments, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving to section 1, item 1, which is board adoption of a resolution in opposition to the Judicial Circuit Consolidation. Ms. Daniels?
Yes, this is, I will not read the entire resolution, but this was drafted by Mr. Larry Bassford in regard to the consolidation that you all asked us to get with him on. So it basically speaks to why he believes we should oppose it. If you'd like any further detail, I'm glad to provide it.
The only thing that I saw in reading before we approve it, at the very last paragraph, and I'm not an expert on resolutions, but it says also resolved. Should it say be it also resolved or also be it resolved? Or?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, now that we're talking about grammatics, the second from the last paragraph, be it further resolved that the citizens own, I think it should be all.
Yes.
And I'll make a motion we approve it.
Okay. Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, a second from Commissioner McKinney to approve the resolution with the changes that's noted. Any questions, comments, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll agenda out here. Moving down to the public hearing, we've got board adoption of nonprofit utility rates. Ms. Daniels?
This was requested by several customers in our utility area that we, the board, consider a nonprofit rate for our utility system. And so attached, you have a schedule there that Mr. Daniels is recommending that you consider adopting. We have followed proper advertisements and also notice to the bills that this was something that people could come to speak on.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go ahead and close out the regular scheduled meeting and open up a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak either for or against the adoption of the nonprofit utility rates as published in the board packet? Seeing no hands in the audience, Fred, is there anyone online that wishes to speak either for or against the proposed nonprofit utility rates?
If anyone online would like to speak for or against this item, they may use the raise hand feature via Zoom or *9 via telephone. I see no hands.
Thank you, Fred. With that being said, since there's no one in the audience and no one online wishing to speak either for or against the proposal, I'll close the public hearing, open back up a regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
I make a motion. I like to move to adopt proposed rate and
Okay.
authorize step aside.
Got a motion from Commissioner McKinney.
you've got several people here in the audience from Camellia Acres that I think want to speak about the water and sewer rates.
Is this about this specific?
About us giving money to charities and raising their rates.
Okay.
Is there anyone that wants to speak? You have to ask. Not me.
Okay. come to the podium. Can we get a second to that motion before we? Got a motion from Commissioner McKinney, second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Okay, ma'am, if you'll state your name again.
Sally Donnelly.
Mhm.
I've got every water bill here that I've gotten since the first of the year. It's incredible, the rate increase of this. I use approximately, well, this month I used $1,250 consumption, and my bill was $55. Back in April, I used $1,540, and my bill was $28. So it's more than doubled with less consumption. I think that the sewer bill is, I think the whole thing is the increase. Like everybody's been talking here, is the piling on. Every time you turn around, something else has gone up. And for using so little water and having such a large water bill, I think is outrageous. I'm sorry. I mean, I think that everybody here, does anybody else want to comment on the water bill? All my neighbors are back here. And I got them all to come here tonight because of this water bill. It's, and I think it's. Exactly. The water smell is so bad, every time you turn the faucet on, you don't want to drink it. I caught in distilled water to cook with because it ruins my stainless steel pans. And now I got to pay twice as much for it. I think that everybody's discussing this.
Thank you.
I do have some questions, not for you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Daniels. Didn't we pay the Florida Rural Water System to do a rate study some time ago?
We've had two in the past 3 to 4 years. First one was done in 2020.
Yeah.
And then the last one last year. The last year's study, the rates were implemented 2 months ago.
Okay.
Or 2 billing cycles.
Do you know how much that rate study cost us?
It was a mix between Florida Rural Water and All Day Howell. I don't know what the exact amount was, but Florida Rural Water, we're a member of Florida Rural Water, so that was minimal. You know, say I won't put a number on it, but it's part of the package of being a member of Florida Rural Water. And it was also, I'll add too, the rate study and the asset management plan is also a requirement of the SRF grant that we wanted. So regardless of the outcome, it would have been.
Well, let me ask, was the charitable portion a part of the study?
Not individually. Charitable is in nonprofit?
Right, nonprofit churches, whatever you want to call them.
No, I asked the Florida Rural Water employee that I've been dealing with on this, and they weren't aware of any other utility having a separate rate class for, you know, nonprofits or anything.
Okay.
Like that.
How much will this, if you do this, how much will this cost our utilities?
Cost and
Cost the county.
Cost and lack of revenue, I feel, are two different things.
All right, let's call it lack of revenue.
So it'll be on the sample that I did of 10, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10 potential nonprofits that would qualify for this rate. It would be a decrease in revenue of $50,000
Per year.
annually.
Okay. And I know that some of the people that will qualify for this will be the churches. And I am not opposed to helping churches. In fact, I took the liberty to talk to several churches in my district. And they said they would all gladly accept a donation from the county each month,
Right.
equal to what we're offsetting.
So that would be a cost, that'd be the difference in the cost and the
Well,
revenue.
But what I'm saying, they would love to have that same consideration. I don't think that, like I said, I'm not opposed to helping the churches or the charities or whoever. I would assure you that the nonprofits, you're gonna have to go back and rewrite it and tighten it up a lot before I would be for it, because anybody that wants to can be a nonprofit. Is not that hard.
Right.
So if it's $50,000, why don't we look at maybe lowering the rates on everybody to compensate for the 50?
Well, that's up to y'all. I mean, y'all, forgive me, but y'all approved the rates as they are. So
I know we did. And we did it because we wanted to keep the system solvent.
Right.
So now we're turning around and taking $50,000 out of it per year, which is going to affect the bottom line of utilities. So I don't see how we can do this. I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. If we're going to give away 50,000, let's just cut everybody's rates so that we'll take away 50 from our bottom line.
What would you reduce the rates to?
Whatever it works out, you just have to sit down and
Let's
do
have to go
per
back.
gallon.
Do another rate study, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know that you'd have to do another rate study, but you could certainly sit down and take 50,000 and divide it up among everyone and give everybody a discount.
I thought the state was telling us how much we charge in order for us to continue with that water system.
The
In order to
study
get- in order to get that grant, we had to basically increase the
approved the
rate.
rates,
Yeah.
increase
To
the
the
rates.
point that we.
But suddenly they're really willing to give away $50,000. And all I'm saying is if we're going to do that, give everybody on the system a discount. Because if you're giving away 50,000 to 10, how many have we got on our system now? About 600?
400.
4?
And that's a
Everybody
mix of
divide it
commercial
up
and
among
residential.
everyone. Be fair about it.
I was just under the assumption that the state was saying you have to make it to this rate, or we were not going to give you the grant for 2%.
We had to approve the rate increase.
Did they set the rate or did we set it?
We said,
We said it, but was that? something
based upon the Florida Rural Water Study.
Right.
They did
But
not,
they're private.
the state did not set the rate that it
Rates.
needed to be. They did require an increase, and then the study determined the increase.
They said that the system would need to be solved.
Yeah, in order to get the loan, basically the state evaluated financials and us in order for us to be able to make the note, make payment, whatever you want to call it, we had to increase the rates to make sure we had adequate funds. But they did not say it needs to be X, Y, Z. They just said it's gonna have to go up, and then that's what the last part of the process was. When we sent the new resolution with the rates, they recalculated everything to make sure we could cover our payment.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not for or against this, not that I have a vote, because I don't, but, the reason this came up specifically was, first of all, it's not uncommon to have nonprofit rates. And realistically, we could have let that be part of the study had we had the thought. But it's because we have nonprofits, and this is not to elevate one over another, but specifically innovative charities, who, if y'all have not driven by there recently, is giving out food on a regular basis. The line extremely long of needs in our community that they are choosing to meet. And then also they help with other things like utility bills, things that people that are struggling month to month. And so, again, I'm not a proponent one way or another, but the thought was, because really some of those things could fall to the county if they're not being met by nonprofits in our community. So it is a way to say, we'll give something here as a recognition and help for the needs that you're meeting of the citizens. So I believe that was where this all stemmed from.
Right, and I agree with you, Ms. Will, I'm glad to make that point. A lot of these churches that actually give, I think we now need to go back and and look at some of the ones that's not as active, it's not giving as much, back to the community for services, back to the citizens. So this may be something we may want to look at for the evaluation of the board for us, it's just 9 or 10 nonprofits going to get this X amount of dollars, rebate, what have you. We need to actually evaluate what they actually do to deserve that, so.
You certainly do not have to give a blanket discount for any nonprofit. I don't exactly know what metrics we would use to figure that out, but.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to remind how we got there. It was it was really just to say, this is something that they don't even have to do. They're choosing to operate in our county and help our citizens. How can we help support that in some way?
Right, and they do help a lot of citizens.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't believe it, drive down there Wednesday morning and see how many people's getting food there
Well,
that need it.
and I applaud them for that. And there are others that are doing good things in the county also. So, we just have to be careful in what we do. And we don't need to show favoritism to anyone.
Or are you saying you're opposed to the?
I am opposed to it the way it is, because I don't know what is the nonprofit or,
I think the nonprofit is defined, is it not?
Loosely, I mean, I just put in there, I mean, if they're IRS qualified, that's 27 different categories. I have not,
Yeah.
again, begun to dive into each individual one to see what may qualify,
Right.
not even close.
Well, I'm kind
it's
of like
not
Mr.
that
Peacock.
hard to become a 501c3.
Right,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to withdraw my motion
okay.
and vote the opportunity to reject at this time.
So
Mr.
did you-
Chairman, I make a motion to table it.
Table it,
Okay.
or reject. Yeah.
We did,
Got a motion
It
from
needs more
Commissioner Peacock to table this, and the reason for tabling is to get a better definition of what would qualify for these rates. Is
I
that
want to know what they're talking about. 'Cause I don't-
what they're talking about as far as who would qualify?
who qualifies?
Well, that could be something y'all determine. I mean, y'all say who y'all want to qualify, and that's how we can draft it. I mean, I'm gonna need some direction. If it's tabled, I'm gonna need some direction of what changes to make.
Well, I would also request that, in your reports, that you determine how much of a discount we can give everyone on the system.
Okay.
Make sure
Got a
just
motion
include
from
what
Commissioner-
services they're providing to the citizens as well, what services that each nonprofit is providing.
So your motion is to table
Table.
this, and then you've also requested
Requested
staff to get you
to-
some information as to what.
I want to know what they mean by nonprofit. Okay? Because it's easy to be one. I could become one.
Sure.
It's not that hard. And do y'all want to give me a break? Or how long do you think it's going to be before someone decides they want to form a
Well, could
nonprofit and
we
get the
develop
discount?
could we develop a list of nonprofits that we feel comfortable with? And then if they, in the future, if they want to become a recipient of the utility rate reduction, they would have to come to this board and request that.
So can I tell you what my envision was, or what my vision for this was? Once it were approved for whatever, however it got approved, we would put a statement on the bill that everybody gets, like, this is a new opportunity. Please contact the utility department. We would come up with an application of sorts. They'd have to provide the tax numbers and all that sort of stuff. And then we would use that to vet the validity of the tax exemption. So it'd be after the fact. I mean,
Right.
you'd never be able to list
Right.
all the different,
Right.
who, what, when, where's. But after the fact, you had to come, and then it would be fine to bring those applications to the board if you want to do it case by
I
case.
think they need to come before the board if you do it.
Okay.
But we need to know what you're working on.
Okay.
So right now,
You
you've
got
got
it.
a motion to table.
I would
You
second that
second a motion. Did I see your hand up?
I have a question. Now what about the churches that,
Come to the podium if you don't mind, so that we can get you on the recording, please, and state your name, even though I know you.
I'm Cheryl Holm, and I was just thinking about the church that are able, there are churches that are able to pay their own bills. And instead of giving them money, give it to these smaller churches that are struggling and that really do need help. Forget about the churches that have a lot of money. That's what I'm saying.
It's a thought, but you know, it becomes a little bit difficult sometimes to determine that. I mean,
Well,
hopefully the church, we both go to the Methodist church. I think our church is capable of paying those bills. Hopefully they would not put in a application to have that reduced based on our good standing in the community. So maybe it would be up, as Rhett said, it would be up to each individual not for profit to decide whether they wanted to apply for that or not.
so it's still open to them whether they want to use it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you would determine
How could
financially.
you could exempt them if they reach a certain amount of thousands of dollars,
Yeah,
you know.
okay. Thank you.
That's a thought.
You got a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay. Item number 2, under the public hearing is the board review and approval of Tranquility at Hope School Phase 2. Ms. Daniels.
Yes, this is a request for a general development order for phase 2 of Tranquility at Hope School, consisting of two-story apartment buildings with a vehicular use area, a playground, and a pavilion totaling 56,270 square feet of impervious area. This project is located at 1999 Hope School Drive in unincorporated Jackson County. And on August 21st, 2023, the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make.
When-
no,
we're
you
going
gotta go.
I'm going to go ahead and close out our regular meeting, open up a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak either for or against the approval of the general development order for Tranquility at Hope School? Yeah, Mary Margaret? Come. Ms. Ferris, state your name for the record, please, ma'am.
Mary Margaret Ferris with Melvin Engineering, and I'm the consultant for the project engineer. If y'all need
Any
questions.
questions? Okay. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands in the audience, Fred, anyone online wishing to speak either for or against the issuance of the development order?
As a reminder to anyone online who would like to speak for or against this item, they may use the raise hand feature via Zoom or *9 via telephone. I see no hands.
Thank you. With there being no one in the audience or online wishing to speak either for or against the development order, we'll close out the public hearing, go back into our regular scheduled meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve this request.
Got a motion for Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner Branch. Any questions, comments, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Ferris. Okay, I believe we had decided to move item number 23 up to this point in the agenda. Item 21, which is an update on Spring Creek litter ordinance. Red, if you don't mind, just give us an update on the meeting that we had last week.
Sure thing. So earlier this year, when this was adopted, one of the agreements was that we would come back after the season. We call them the season around here for outdoor recreation, Memorial Day to Labor Day. So after Labor Day, we would come back, meet with some citizens, business owners, and everything that are involved in the creek, and report back to the board on, you know, what was observed on all sides. So we were able to meet last Friday and talk about from the sheriff's office perspective that was working the details at Spring Creek, Turner's Land, and Magnolia. Mr. McAlpin with Bear Paw was able to come and give his thoughts. We had Danny Melvin for the citizen side, and then Major Price with Jackson County Sheriff's Office. So we just kind of had a little round table, informal, and talked about what everybody saw, changes potentially, and overall, it turns out that there's still materials getting in the creek that we don't want. You know, there's some improvements that could be made. I got some notes about additional signage and things of that nature. And speaking with Major Price, you know, they're able to cut back on a lot of the input on the public side, but if it sneaks in, you know, once it gets downstream, it's hard to, you know, address that. Some other comments were basically the exemption of boaters, still feeling that was not, fair, I guess you could say, yeah. And, you know, kind of wanted to add them into the restriction of no disposable containers. I was able to talk with Major Price, you know, from his perspective, obviously we can't detail item by item disposable containers, but from him working the detail, you know, what kind of things he was seeing, you know, obviously your basic, you know, cans, bottles, snack containers, things of that nature. He was able to, you know, inform the people that were coming. Most of them were able to comply. He said many of them were able to run, you know, to the dollar store and change things out where they could still take the food and beverages they brought. He did have some that were upset and ended up leaving. So that's a chance you take. But overall, he said he didn't have any major issues, and they were looking forward to next year, maybe doing some on-water patrols or doing some staging downstream, or they could, you know, if somebody slip by or whatever, they could address that. On the, let me go through my notes real here.
I think overall, just while you're looking through your notes, overall, I think the only, based on the conversations that we had with Mr. McAlpin, Mr. Melvin, and is it Mr. Price, Major Price?
That's right.
The only consideration for the change in the ordinance, and it was not something that they felt strongly about, was potentially letting that ordinance apply to boats on Spring Creek as well.
Yes,
And I think we'll need to give that some consideration, and prior to, you know, prior to next season, make a decision on that.
right. And I'll add to, Mr. McAlpin and Mr. Melvin are here tonight. I don't know if they plan to speak, but obviously want to offer that up if they would like.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. How many citations were issued?
I don't know.
Zero?
Zero.
Ricky or Danny, since both of you were both at that meeting, either one of you want to come to the podium and add to what Mr. Daniel said?
Yes, sir. My name is Ricky McAlpin. Like I said before, I still believe this ordinance is unconstitutional. If not racist, it's very discriminating. But y'all voted for it, so I'm trying my best to comply by it. Okay, excuse me. But no one is going to try to force me to search one's cooler. The deputy sheriff said the other day, if someone told him no, he could not do it. They could still access that water. Excuse me. My attorney told me I could not do it. So that's where I'm at. So I cannot search coolers.
If, just as a point of clarification, if they do get on the water.
Well, if they're on the water with it, then if they get caught with it, that's them.
Right.
But legally, I cannot search anyone's cooler. And like I said, I still think it's discriminative.
Thank you. Danny, you got anything you want to add to that before we move on?
My name's Danny Melvin. Here we are again. Been doing this 25 years almost. Still talking about trash. It's getting in there from both sides. And it can be stopped. It can slow down way more than it is. I've asked the other day, you know, how's the trash getting in there? You know, from the county side, like Charlie said, he can't search the coolers, but they're all compliant. Not all of them, but the majority of them are. And, but once they get in the water, they can actually search. He can look through those coolers. He don't have to touch them. Or he can refuse service. Yes, you can. But the question is how does the trash get in there?
There's trash in there a lot.
I'm talking about from your side. They put the cans or the coolers and stuff in his vehicle. You got to know what you're putting in your vehicles, right? So what if I take a pound of pie? I'm riding his vehicle. He gets stopped. I don't know whose it is. Who's liable, the driver or the people in the back of the car? The driver is. You got to know what you put in your vehicle. He's taking the trash up to his business, going through his business and putting it in.
I'll start dropping people off on the county side.
Talk to him. You've done it for years, before you even started up. But we're talking about trash and trash only. He can look, or he can refuse service. You can't bring this in there. He can sell the containers. He has the containers to sell. He's not putting forth the effort to help us do this. He's not sending the people down there. He says what he wants to, and that's just a lie, all of this. That's just the honest God truth.
Let's don't get into this kind of
But anyway,
conversation. But one of
It
the
is a
things,
problem. It's been a problem for a long, long time.
one of the things that I said at our meeting, and I think I said it at this table as well, the few times that I had been on the creek this year, and it's not been many, on a weekend.
Yes.
It did appear, it's very unscientific, but it did appear that the amount of bottles and cans that I saw floating on top of the water, which I used to sit at the mouth of the creek a lot,
Yes.
and you'd see hundreds of bottles that would float. I saw less of that this year.
It has slowed down a lot, and it could slow down a lot more.
Yeah.
All we need is a little cooperation and some help.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Patty?
Hey, Stuart, how's everybody doing? Hi. You guys don't look happy. Anyways, with the trash, I know that we had discussed this about the trash, and it has cut down a lot. I do know that with Bear Paw, we do have containers. Ricky is not money hungry like some people like to say. We loan out the containers because some people are not informed about the ordinance. We tell them about it. We don't let them go down. We give them containers, which they can take, give us back. We recycle them, we wash them, and let the next person use them. Some people that we don't let anybody, safety is our problem. And we don't let anybody, some people will come down with 2 bottles of water for a 4-hour trip. You can't do that. You know, there is no possible way you'll die. So, well, maybe not die, but you know, you'll get thirsty. And you can't drink the creek water right now. But we give them coolers to borrow. We do everything we possibly can to try to help keep the trash out, just like we have always done, even though the trash has been blown out of proportion, like I said. And now we have a bigger problem. Besides all that green stuff floating down from the Millpond that smells like sewage, I can't stand, ruining the whole, what are you guys gonna do? Well, that's a different story. You know, but
We're working on that.
I'm good, because I mean, have you looked at the creek lately? It's all over.
Yeah.
But anyways, another problem which I had brought up was about boat safety. You guys told me that it has nothing to do with the litter control. Well, yes, it does. I want to differ, because you've got certain boaters, not all the boaters, certain boaters that have bad attitudes towards tubers. It doesn't matter if they come from Bear Paw, doesn't matter if they come from the public side. They try purposely, they will not slow down. They have almost drowned 2 of my great grandchildren because they were on Bear Paw floats. There is 2 other women I know of that were almost drowned because these boats come flying past them, pushing them into the trees, into the waves. They don't care how old they are or how young they are. So I want to know, what are we going to do about these people that are being butts, using trash as an excuse because they don't want to share? I understand tubers get in their way, kayakers, canoers block, because some of them, no matter how hard we try to tell them, you know, you don't just tie up together and be a big gigantic circle. How are you going to get down the creek like that? But all we can do is tell them, no, we don't recommend this. But it gets the boaters, and I can understand with the boaters, because how can you go around somebody that's got 6 floats tied together, and people are bringing floats that hold 14 people, and that's going in at the public side, you know, and we don't need the animosity from the boaters. It has to be worked together. Everybody has to be worked together before somebody, maybe a child, drowns out there because of their animosity. And it has gotten way out of hand. And like I said, 2 of my great grandchildren. Now you got a mama bear that's very mad. I don't want to lose my kids.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
For your comments. Okay, I think at this point in time, unless there is a motion to change the ordinance, at this point in time, I don't think it's really necessary, but we certainly we'll consider it.
If they, if they want to bring something, let us look at it. I'm willing to look.
Well, I think again, as a result of our meeting, that was primarily the biggest, change to the ordinance at this point in time that would come out as a recommendation from that, group of people that met.
She mentioned boats and, other people have voiced concerns about boats and tubers not mixing, so.
Well, I know it is a problem.
All the boaters being exempt, everything, if we want to look at it, maybe Rick can put something together and bring to us later on.
Danny?
Folks keep getting brought up time after time. Trash don't run upstream. It wasn't for these boaters that couldn't get it out of the water. There's a handful of boats that are picking the trash up. Not everybody's picking this trash up. You've got a bunch of young kids, we sent them this year, you sent them this year, they're flying up down the river. I've witnessed it myself. You've got to have the respect for your tubers and the other boaters. I'm one of those boat people. Have a bunch more behind me too. The thing about the creek is, and you need to think about this, that's a registered vehicle, just like your car, just like your truck. You can put whatever you want to in it. When you step out of it, it's when everything changes. It has to be an appropriate container. What stays in that boat is a registered vehicle. That's something to think about.
Thank you. All right.
He's right, it's a registered vehicle. Okay, is it legal to drive a car drinking?
Nope. All righty. Anything else? Any direction by the board? We'll move on then. Thank you all. All right, let's go into community development, section number 3. Item number 1 under community development is board review and approval to increase an alcoholic beverage license for San Marcos. Ms. Daniels.
A request was received from San Marcos Mexican Grill for a modification to increase an alcoholic beverage series from 2 COP beer and wine by the drink for on-premise consumption to 7 COP beer, wine, and liquor by the drink or in a sealed container for consumption on and off premises where sold. The restaurant is located at 4867 West Side Plaza in unincorporated Jackson County. There are no schools or churches within 300 feet of this location.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna make a motion, we approve this request.
Motion from Commissioner Peacock.
Second.
Second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions, comments, clarifications? All those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 2 under community development, board review and of a variance to the Jackson County Code of Ordinances, section 4245. Ms. Daniels.
This is a request for a variance to Jackson County Code of Ordinance, section 42-4557 to allow a manufactured home to be placed on lot 11, block 179, unit 5 in Compass Lake in the Hills, which does not allow mobile homes. The parcel associated with this request in Jackson County is parcel ID 02-2N-11-0087-1790-0110, 1114 Post File Circle. The applicant has stated the reason for the variance request is due to the rising cost of housing. On August 21st, 2023, the Planning Commission recommended denial of the variance request to the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, thank you. How many of you in the audience are here to speak or on this issue? Okay, Mr. Gracious. How many of you are opposed to the variance? Okay, since it's getting late, and I will certainly hear from whoever wants to speak, but at this point in time, we certainly don't need to be redundant with our comments. Is there maybe a spokesperson for the group here tonight? As opposed to listening to 20 people say the same thing?
I think it'd be very perfect. You all here.
Okay,
And I've got it right, so we can make it really quick. And you guys
come forward and maybe we can.
Mr. Chairman, the lady who's requesting is here also.
Okay, also, before you get started, is there someone, is the lady that is requesting the variance here present? You are, okay, well, we'll give you an opportunity to speak as well. No, you go ahead, you go first.
My name's Charles Uncle. I was here, I think, in one of your last meetings when this all came up and we talked about it. So I went back and we did a little homework and we talked to a few people about it with the state, and and different things. I've got the Florida law in regarding variances right here. This is all different municipalities from Miami to Key West, all the way up to the Panhandle and across. And she's requesting a hardship variance tonight, it sounds like, just like the last one. Am I correct in that? Well, it states right here what a hardship is. And this specifically defines, even in the last case, that that's not considered as far as the state and what's allowable as a hardship. And I'm gonna leave this, I'm not gonna sit here and read all this. But I think, Mr. Peacock, last time we talked about what is correct for the board to be able to do. And the reason is we've already been through this stuff and there's lawsuits and blah, blah, blah. Everybody here is hurting for some reason or another, and including the county. We don't need to get into another bunch of lawsuits. And this is really starting to become quite apparent. This is something that's moving forward. We have property out there that's designated for, mobile homes, manufactured homes, whatever you want to call them. And we have in areas that are set up separately. And I've asked anybody want to come to the office, I've got the original 3D maps sitting there on the wall. It's all defined and it's all been put in the board in the building and zoning department down here. And it's very, very clear with case laws and studies right here. Everything about it. It even highlights in here what your all's ability and what you should be able to do and not do. And I'm not going to, I'd rather any of you guys read it, make copies of this and send it around. I think it's going to clarify a lot of things. Take it to your attorney and read it. Say, maybe we've overstepped what we're doing here according to state law. Again, I'm in the process. Don't even know what to do. My wife and I are standing there looking at each other. I had 7 people call me today in the same boat. We've already got our plans approved to build a nice large home, over $550,000 on the lake. It's a lot of money to be putting into something if I'm going to have a mobile home, and I have nothing against mobile homes. I lived in a mobile home, but I spent a lot of time and a lot of years working hard so we can move up and have a place for our grandkids and do some things, but I'm not going to invest that money. And neither one of you would do that if you were going to have a mobile home put next door. I went and talked to 2 banks here in this town and they said, what is going on over there? We're hearing more and more talk about maybe we should hold back on loaning money to people that are building homes over there, or at least the amount, because we don't know what's going on. Is the county going to make that all mobile homes over there? So I'm going to leave this up here and I want you guys just to kind of pass it around. And
Give it to Ms.
I think there's some things in there that will clarify what we need to be talking about. And I think you guys are all protected and rightfully saying, you know what, we can stand by what's already been made in law. We can stand by what we've already done years ago, and it's here. And I feel bad that a lot of people are holding off on building stuff right now. Nobody wants to go out and spend $12 for a 2x4. I get it. But there's some of us that are holding off and saving money and trying to get to that point where we can build that home. I'm just going to leave it right there, and I appreciate it if you guys would read it, and we'll go from there.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Yes, ma'am. You need to come forward so we can get you on.
About Lake. How is it? I have seen mobile homes around Compass Lake. What's wrong with that?
Some of them are in areas that are deemed for mobile homes. We're not saying there's no mobile homes out there. I'm saying there are areas that are approved for homes. So it comes down to a lot of things. Insurance. If I'm going to put a $500,000 home, is that mobile home going to blow into my home? And who's going to insure what? I mean, there's a lot of different.
We need to be a part of this conversation, I think.
Well, I know I rode around, I've lived in Compass Lake, I'm Kathleen Melcher. And I've seen mobile homes around Compass Lake. They have beautiful homes around Compass Lake, and there's beautiful mobile homes. I have a lot next door that my grandson would like to put a mobile home on. He's Jackson County Sheriff's deputy. Wouldn't you like a deputy living in your home? But, you know, but I just, they're saying one thing. But if they're talking about Compass Lake. I live by McCormick Lake. What's the guy doing there living in containers in a camp? Yeah.
Just 2 months or not even 6 weeks before the last mobile home got approved, we had a meeting. And I think the board can tell you probably what came out of that meeting. They're talking about having a special person to take over and start looking at finding people and the magistrate to go back behind and enforce it. But right now, the county has not been in a position to enforce some of that stuff, but they were already working on that. And we were behind making sure that stuff.
I mean, I couldn't understand the big stink when somebody's living in containers in a camper.
Because somebody throws trash on the ground doesn't mean
It's
okay for
it's
everybody to throw trash.
I understand.
Well, that's all you're talking
What
about.
was that?
let's try to
Thank
keep
you.
it in order. Anything else?
So, no, that's it. Just, I mean, and mobile, like I said, there are beautiful mobile homes. If y'all need taxes, they've got plenty of land over there by McCormick Lake that they can build. Put a mobile home and pay taxes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, come forward.
My name's Teresa Magnus and I live around McCormick Lake. And I can tell you that there are places out in Compass Lake in the Hills that is designated for mobile homes, and we have no problem with that. And we have no problem with neighbors that are good neighbors. But we personally waited 40 years to build our house, and we purchased the land and built where we did build based on the fact that y'all have an ordinance saying there is going to be no mobile homes allowed where we're at. Based on Jackson County's ordinance on your codes. A mobile home has a title like a car. You drive your car off the lot, what happens to it? When you buy a brand new car and it's got a title to it and you drive it, I don't care if you pay cash for it. When you drive it off that car lot, what happens? It depreciates in value. If you've got a $500,000 home, which I do not, but if you do have one, and you've got a $75,000 trailer sitting next to it, and you went to sell your lot and your land and your home, what do you think the realtor is going to base the price of your home on?
And that's actually the case in the situation.
And in Compass Lake, around Compass Lake, there are a lot of trailers, but there's a difference between Compass Lake and Compass Lake in the Hills. That's two separate communities. They are not the same community. And you cannot tell me that putting mobile homes in an area that was designated no mobile homes is going to appreciate the value of my home. You can't convince me of that. It's not going to work that way. And y'all know it.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name is Russell Shields. I live at 985 View Drive. Donnie knows me, Paul knows me. I've been around a long time, native. I just want to ask you guys to do your jobs and take care of supporting us, the property owners, citizens of Jackson County, and our right to live in a home that has a deed restriction on it and not devalue our properties. This lady bought property. There's what, 500, maybe around 500 houses that are legal out there by now. These people have invested in homes. I'm here to retire. I really don't want to move again, but if you allow the trailers to come in, we're going to have problems. Donnie's been very helpful with me trying to get the road paved. That's coming up later in the meeting, I believe. It started last year, with his predecessor, and we look forward to that. And I also want to echo about the homes that are not even standard tents, sheds. They're there. And realtors have contacted, I have a realtor that contacted me that wants to put up 15 pole barns so people can bring in their places and live there and not build a house, just to have a place. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Dawn Weaver. I live on the corner of Fairview, Daniel, and View Drive. And if you've driven past there, you have seen literally all the blood, sweat, and tears we have put into that place. We came before Michael. That is a lot on the corner that my husband's parents had since this place originally started. And we agreed, we walked through it, we looked at it, we took a good thought about where we're going to retire at and where I'm going to bring my parents to finish out the rest of their lives. I was raised, you honor thy mother and thy father. And that is what we are doing. I'm also honoring the vet that raised me and has health issues. That home has been built with me moving to Florida while my husband stayed in Northern Virginia to sell our home while my parents stayed in Kentucky. And we three-way to build a handicap accessible home to take care of my parents' last days and for us to live in throughout our days. We loved what the community had. We love the fact that the deed says no mobile homes, that you will build a house or manufactured home. We needed that. I'm sorry. You have to build a site built home or a modular. Thank you. So we thought long and hard. Michael hit. We came back and we walked that property again and it looked like pickup sticks. We toured everything and we still chose to pick Jackson County as our home to allow my father to die and not to have stress, to be taken care of and not to go to a nursing home. I am a nurse. I work my butt off and I've been working my butt off for years. No, I do not have a lot of money, but I'm wise with my money. I didn't have the easiest way about life, but I still chose to get my education, pay off my debt, and not owe people. Here I stand trying to take the stress off my father. Donnie, you've met my father. You've been very patient, and I thank you. So you know what I'm going through, and you know why he's there. I did not build this home, and I will tell you, we built it, and it's over $300,000. I do not like having a $2,000 mortgage payment, but if that's what it takes for me to work every day and work overtime to give that man the life he deserves as a father, as a vet, and just as a human being, and take his stress away because we all opted to leave our homes and come here and live in Jackson County. But now I've got to worry about whether or not my property value is going to go to crap. Okay. I pulled my permits like you asked because we wanted to build the building first, the shop that you see out there. Build it, live in it, and then build our home. Yeah, we were told, no, you need to build the home. Pull your permit. We've done all that. So it's not right. As I'm getting our patients ready for your hurricane season that comes through, we make sure they have everything they need. And going through Florida's own website, they have 2 different plans for you to get ready. So August 26th of this year, it tells me, plan for your home. The other one tells me to plan for your manufactured home. Why is there 2 separate ways to plan? There's a difference. And it's not fair for you to decide who can and cannot come in there when the Planning Commission has already said no. I heard it before when I watched a previous one because I could not be here. And one of the things, when it was brought up about the planning commission, it was said, well, we can do what we want to do. Well, I could have gone anywhere I wanted to, but I chose Jackson County. So I hope in all of your want to do's, you will respect the work ethic that I have, that my husband has, that my father has had, that my mother has, and respect their life. Follow the rules.
Thank you.
I'm not done yet. So thank you.
Go ahead.
These decisions affect us greater than you realize. At any point in time that you feel like my home is not worth what it is because I built and it should be qualified for the standards of a mobile home, please come buy my home. Please give me the difference that you're going to cause in the depreciation of my home, so I can take my father somewhere else to finishing and living out the rest of his days. Now I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, do you want a young lady that is requesting the variance, you have an opportunity to.
Good evening. My name is Sharisa Thomas. I'm the property owner of Compass Lake in the Hills. And I was here for the meeting with the planning commissioner. As everybody stood up and start talking about what they believe and what they want, no one knew who the property owner was. No one knew who the property owner was. So all I came here tonight to say is that everybody deserves a chance in where they want to live. Okay, I bought that property with my hard-earned cash money. When I bought that property, I didn't know you couldn't put a mobile home on it. When I bought it from him, he told me that it's so you could put a manufactured home on it. So if you guys look at the pamphlet I did, all my paperwork that I put in and start doing was even before I went to get permits and anything for them to put the house down. Because I bought this property in 2020. When I got my deed, I think it was in 2022. All before that time, I already put in notice to do the culvert pipe and all that stuff. I had it cleaned off a little bit so they can figure out where I wanted the house to drop. And like I told them in the last meeting, I said, if I know it was an inconvenience for someone to put a home on their own property because it's going to devalue theirs, I would have never gone through all of this just for me to get a home for me and my kids to live in. And like I said, if it was an inconvenience for them to think like that, I apologize from the last meeting because it wasn't a pleasant meeting. It wasn't a pleasant meeting. And my kids had to witness that evening here because I wasn't expecting that meeting to be that type of meeting. I was coming to a meeting when everybody was saying that, oh, you come in to get recommendation from the board. So I was expecting the board to give me recommendation, not to listen to all my fellow neighbors not wanting me to put a home on my property. And I understand everybody argument about devaluing their property, but I want someone to look at the old ordinance that they have. And I'm not thinking it's the ordinance for Jackson County. I'm thinking the ordinance is for Compass Lake in the Hill, if I'm not mistaken. If someone can look into that and see, because right now the houses they're building is HUD regulation. Some of those houses can withstand anything. So for your guys this evening, whatever decision you guys make, I still respect the decision. But all I'm trying to do is get a home for me and my 3 kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
I see that document I gave you a minute ago. I think this will help make everything a little bit easier to move forward because I want to make sure y'all understand. Chuck Uncle and back up here again. Hardship cannot have been self-erected. In that statement, it states you need to know what you're buying, where you're buying it, and what you're buying it for, and if you can do what you want to do with it, can be done. States it right here, and it gives you a whole list of other case laws about that.
I think the one that stands out the most that pertains to you all is consistency with compensative, comprehensive plans. Let me take these out. Granting of a variance is illegal and beyond the authority of any local administrative body where the proposed variance is not shown to be in harmony with and not in degradation of the spirit, intents, and purposes of the general plan of the Building and Zoning Department and regulations. States it right here in the state statute. There's more important things in here that I think before you guys could even begin, I would take a recess, take a step back, and let's read some of this stuff because it's very, very, very impertinent to what you guys are having to make decisions on. And I get it. It's a tough decision. I get it for her. If there was something done at the point in time that somebody hoodwinked and sold a piece of property and didn't, convey that, her attorney, her title company, her banker, somebody should have stepped up possibly and done it. But it's not your all's responsibility to make that decision for her. It's not your responsibility to police that for her, nor me. So I'm gonna leave this again over there, but there's some very, very, very directed things about what to protect you guys in making these decisions.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Thomas, can you come back up 1 second? I got a question for you. Who did you purchase this from, this lot?
His name was Paul Donnelly, I think
Paul Donnelly.
Yeah, you can see the
Did
deed.
you have an attorney involved with you?
No, because when I bought that property, he had that property on the Craigslist website.
Okay.
When I was looking for property back then, go ahead.
Did he, by any chance, tell you that you cannot put a mobile home on there?
No, he told me that that lot, you can put manufactured homes on it.
Manufactured.
Yes, that's why I went in and
Okay.
did everything I did.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we table this because I definitely want to do some research and reading. And then maybe bring it up next meeting or at some point. But I'm not ready until I can review everything. I'm not ready to make a decision tonight.
Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock to table this until a future meeting. Second from Commissioner Crutchfield.
And Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, I make.
Mr. Chairman, this is Michelle.
There's a hand up online.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a Smallwood Miranda Esquire online, raised their hand a couple times.
Okay. Can you, is it Miss Smallwood? Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you today?
We're doing well. How about you?
I am well, thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my clients. I have the pleasure of representing Mr. Arthur Pinello, Steve Gray, Dwayne Lester, John Hopkins, and Mr. John Tuttle, all of whom are owners within the Compass Lake community that does have an ordinance and restriction against mobile homes and manufactured homes. I attended the meeting that was held on August 21st, wherein the application was considered and they came to a determination to deny it. I concur with the recommendation to deny it simply based on the black letter law that applies to this. The gentleman that got up with shorts and a red cap, although I don't think he has a law license, he is very much on point with the issues that he raised. And I made it clear in my written response regarding the case law that does apply to this matter. And I have attended this evening hoping to avoid any necessary litigation on this matter. So obviously, the Florida Marketable Record Titles Act controls this. And as I believe maybe his name was Mr. Thomas explained, unfortunately, The ordinance is of record. The deed restrictions are of record. Florida imputes the record to all buyers. She purchased this property on April 6, 2022. At least that's the time that the deed was transferred. At that time, it was Miss Thomas's obligation to search the record. Otherwise, she acquires title subject to the record. That in and of itself would prohibit at least the legal approval of the variance. Obviously, I cannot prevent any politician from taking any action or making a decision. However, the law still does apply. And I am urging you, as most of the community that has appeared this evening, to avoid the need to deal with this down the line with taxpayer dollars. These folks are paying their taxes. And in this particular instance, and I believe that's within the packet in the agenda, the home that sits right next to the lot that Miss Thomas is proposing to erect a mobile home on is a home that is valued at more than $300,000. I told the land planning development, like I will tell you, if you approve this variance, I will represent that lady in the lawsuit, because it is apparent that you have enough information before you that the application is insufficient on its face. And to the extent you have any questions regarding my letter that I sent, the case law that I cited therein, I am more than happy to address it informally, rather than having to take any sort of formal action on behalf of my clients.
Okay, is that everything, Ms. Smallwood?
That is, sir. Thank you very much. Unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions of Ms. Smallwood? What got her on?
I think we need to get with our attorney or something and find out if this is actually ordinance that's already in place. I mean, I hadn't saw where it been, in place other than what they said, but if it's in place, we have to, I think, honor it.
Well, we can actually,
We've got a motion to table this from Commissioner Peacock. Thank you, seconded. So,
Well, that's what we want to check and see.
Mr. Chairman, let me answer that. This gentleman passed out some documents. I want time to review it. I heard what the attorney said. So give me time to review it and we will bring it back up.
Thank you.
got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, a second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any other questions?
I'd like to see some
Comments? Commissioner Branch? Commissioner Branch has got a comment.
I'd like to say this. I've spoken with several people from down there. I represent that area. And most everybody down there does not want mobile homes there. And from what they tell me, the main reason is when they bought their property there, that they bought it for that reason. Now, no one has ever said, I don't want this person here, or I don't want that person. It's all about that they just don't want mobile homes because they're afraid it's going to devalue their homes. I don't think it's any other reason. Is they're worried about what money they've got invested in their property? I don't blame them for that. Not at all.
You're 100% right.
When
The
this,
last person that did this, I had no idea even who she was, and I sat next to her every week.
well, when this first come up, I wondered, and then I got to listening to the people. And I got several calls, went and saw several people. And when you hear the reasons that they don't want this, I mean, some people moved here from a long way off just because they didn't think mobile homes were supposed to be there. That is 99% of the reason they moved there.
Right.
And I've got to applaud them for that's what they went after. That's what they got, and that they're happy there. And I don't really blame them wanting to devalue their home, their property. I'm gonna have to, if it was a vote tonight, I'd have to vote no on this variance.
Any other comment? Question?
I'm with Donnie. I would have to vote no as well, because our rule standards are standards, but we need to make sure we abide by the standards. You know?
The motion, there's a motion and a second to table. So
Until
go
we
ahead
can
and I'll
review
call
the
for the
document.
questions. All those in favor of tabling this until a future meeting, raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Did you vote to table?
No.
So the motion to table fails 3-2. With that being said, Chair will entertain a motion to act upon the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board, which for clarification was to deny the variance request. A motion from Commissioner Bryant.
Second.
Hold your thoughts, let's get through this. What? Your question? The motion from Commissioner Branch was to go along with the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board to deny the variance request. Got a motion from Commissioner Branch, a second from Commissioner McKinney. Any other questions, comments, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 3-2.
The reason I wanted to table, I'm for the ordinance if it read, but I hadn't saw it with my own eyes where I read that. So there were just people talking. So I feel like it's worth to review it for both parties.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure it's a right thing. Now, I've heard all y'all talk about it and the attorney there too, but I hadn't saw anywhere myself. Now, I ain't say it's not here or not in bad or whatever, but I want to see it.
Let,
A lot of PS out of it, so that you can read it, it's all there, but I highlighted the imperfect information.
I just want to see it. So by tabling that, that means that you were going to be for it or against it, but it gives you a chance to look it up and see what's the right thing to do.
okay, you come forward, please. We've got to try to move on pretty quickly.
I agree, and Troy made the right decision. I'm Mike Nuccio. I live in Compass Lake in the Hills, and your statement, Mr. Crutchfield, Commissioner Crutchfield, is like a student coming to class without the homework done. You have the documentation in front of you in your packet. You have the ordinance numbers. You could have researched it before you got here tonight. Commissioner Branch, thank you for representing us. It's the first time in years we've had a commissioner actually represent Compass Lake and Hills, and I appreciate that. He represents Compass Lake and Hills. You all represent the county. He brings to you our needs, not just Compass Lake and Hills, but his district. For you to follow and understand what he's bringing to you as people I didn't vote for, because you're not in my district, you should follow the lead of the district commissioner like you just did, 3 of you did. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I will add to that also. We've got a recommending board, a planning and zoning board that is made up of a lot of volunteers.
Yes, sir.
That spend their time on a voluntary basis. And I've served on many of in the 40 years that I've been back practicing, I've served on many volunteer boards throughout the city and the county. And I think it's imperative for us to take into consideration what they also take into account and vote.
And then may I go back on that? The previous 3 that we have not even mentioned were all denied by the planning board. And this board agreed to let them go through. So now you didn't pay attention to it.
That's right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's try to move on. Item number 3 on the community development is board approval of a right-of-way maintenance agreement for Walden, Mathews.
Point of order. Bang the gavel.
Okay, Ms. Daniels?
This is a request for a lease for a $1 annual portion of a platted, unimproved county right-of-way off of Shores Road in order to maintain the strip of land as frontage for his property that is situated approximately 700 feet east of the intersection of Shores Road and Lakeside Drive in unincorporated Jackson County. Mr. Mathews is making this request in order to maintain the strip of land until the time he can obtain property ownership of the abutting property on the west side of the subject right-of-way and pursue a road abandonment petition.
Okay. For the explanation.
Mr. Chairman, I got some questions on this one. So he's wanting to lease the old roadway that's there?
He owns.
Which property? I mean, this doesn't tell me north, south, east, or west.
There's a map in your.
I got it,
packet.
but where's west?
North is up, I would assume.
Right.
That's where it's at.
Mhm.
But he's trying to buy a piece of property. Which property is he trying to buy?
I'm assuming that right there.
No,
That's
that
the
ain't what he's
right-of-way.
trying to buy. He wants to buy a piece of property and us abandon that.
Is there a, yeah, there's map on there. It's this corner piece right
Triangle,
here. The little
triangle
triangle
piece.
piece.
That little triangle?
Yes, sir.
And that way he would
He's in
own
the
both
pro-
people,
Correct.
property on
He's in
both
the
sides.
process. It's in a state, so they're trying to get all the people together to change over ownership. But he wants to lease this right of way for $1 until he can be
Purchase
able
that.
to purchase this.
Once he purchases it, then
Then he wants to do away with the right of way.
That little triangle is it owned by who?
in the state.
Got it somewhere.
I don't know that I saw that.
I don't think.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I got a question. Yeah, but
Okay.
what are your thoughts on this?
I've talked with, I've talked with him. I'm not sure about the people that own it. That road is an old platted road from the 40s or 50s. It's been undeveloped, all this time. The only concern I have is there's an easement that goes through it to some people that would be on the south side of the guy that's wanting to get it, of his property. There's 2 or 3 houses in there, and there's an easement that cuts through that property. That's my only concern about it. I mean, the unplatted road right there, I don't,
That's not a problem with you.
it's not a problem with me, because ideally, when he first called Road and Bridge, I think before he ever got into the planning department. Right. Okay, so there would still be a need. Okay, so originally when he talked to me, he wanted to straighten out Shores Road. Like, basically what he wants is where his property line is, he wants to make a clean front on it. So he's got, when you ride by his property, you don't see 10 or 15 foot of cleaned up property and all that. He wants it where he's got the full 300, 400 foot, however much it is. He wants to just.
There's nobody that's using that as a road right now.
It's not a road.
Okay. It's
I mean,
just a right of way.
It's just a,
It's
it's an
got a lot of
old
those
platted. I went with that, 40.
So in other
So
words,
Round Lake,
it just need cleaning up pretty much, the deed.
Right, there's a pile of those roads in Round Lake.
Okay.
So Amber, is there an easement through there?
So I can let you look at the slide. The side of it.
There's
So
an
there
easement
is
south of it.
Easement here, south of the property. So this is the easement that he's wanting to.
That's what he
maintain
wants.
For $1.
Okay. But he doesn't want to come,
Even if abandon this, the people down here would still have this easement to Shore Road.
coming through
Is
here.
that an open easement? I mean,
They've been using it. I mean, it's platted.
They going back and forth on that now? They use it?
Well, they've been using this
Right.
to go back to their property.
How much problems is it gonna be for them to use the other?
It would probably need to be cleared out.
and we don't have any idea as to how long it will take him to gain, a title to the triangular shaped piece of property. I mean, could be, He just plans to lease this until then, and then he'll petition to him. Yeah, okay.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, I make,
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve this, but I would like to make sure that there is an easement stipulated in there.
right,
Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney to approve the lease agreement contingent upon an easement giving access to the property south of that.
Exactly.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 4 under community development is board approval of to increase the HHRP award amount. Ms. Daniels.
This has to do with a project at 4184 Bauer Street in Mariana. In the process of construction, discovered that the sewer line does not meet code. They're having to increase to a 4-inch line. Because this will take the total award amount $1,000 over what the board originally approved, we need board approval to authorize that.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve it, and it comes out of CHIP money, right?
This is HHRP money.
so move, second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion from Commissioner Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consent agenda. There are a number of items under the consent agenda. I trust everyone's had a chance to review those. If so, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion from Commissioner McKinney,
Second.
second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Marie, that was Commissioner McKinney and Commissioner Crutchfield seconded. Okay. Item number 2, board approval of the behavioral health transportation plan. Mr. Birch, you want to present that? Good evening,
Commissioners. This is Sheriff's Office requesting board approval of the behavioral transportation plan. This is something we have in place for Baker Annex, Marshall Annex.
Nothing's really changed other than the number of beds, I think, that are available. I saw that the number of beds, is the number of beds, the ones that are included in the agreement?
Yes.
For the explanation, got a motion from Commissioner Branch, second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Is the next item yours as well?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
This is our 2023 law enforcement agreement with Chipola College. This is Chipola's contract with us to have a deputy on campus and other services that we provide for contractual basis.
Any changes?
No change. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion from Commissioner McKinney, second from Commissioner Peacock with a question.
Does this salary cover all the Social Security and all that other stuff?
Yes, sir. It's broken down.
What about a car?
What about a vehicle?
Pardon? Does
They
it
provide the
cover,
vehicle.
you provide the vehicle?
We do.
Well, I'm just wondering if maybe we're not losing some money there.
These deputies that work there, they respond to other calls throughout the county. They're subject to call to and from work, but it's certainly something we can.
Oh,
look
there's
into.
not someone that's designated.
They're designated there, but they're a deputy 24/7, so.
Well, I
anytime they're on
understand
the-
that. But there may be, next year, you may want to add a fee in for a vehicle.
We'll take a look at that.
Well, we got a motion from
And
Commissioner
second,
McKinney and a second from Commissioner Peacock. Any question then? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Wes.
I'll actually handle the next one for you. as well.
Okay, very good. The core contract with let's see, this is 911 grant.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So this is just asking for an extension on that grant, mostly for billing.
Okay,
so moved, Mr.
got a
Chairman.
motion from Commissioner Peacock. Second from Commissioner Branch. Any questions of Wes while we got him here? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, moving down to item number 5, which now is the core contract and fee schedule. Ms. Martin,
Good evening.
good evening.
Here to present our 23-24 fee schedule for Department of Health in Jackson County that requires commission approval each year. It is before you. I'm sure you've reviewed it already. I'm prepared to answer any questions, and I can note exactly what changes have been made.
Only question I had is in the document changes, it says the county health department is responsible for the cost of fuel, maintenance, insurance, and repairs of vehicles used for the county health department operations. In the contract, that sentence is left out under 7. 7C, it just didn't include that one line. And that's on page 158 in my book.
It's on the top page, the interoffice memorandum to Ty General. This had to go to our deputy general counsel for signature because our vehicles are transferring ownership to the county.
All right.
But we do maintain them. What page did you say that was on?
Well, it was in 7C is what it refers to in the contract itself. If you look over at facilities and equipment, under C, it's the same exact paragraph, except for that one line is not included in that paragraph.
Which line is not included?
Well, it's in the document changes explanation. It reads exactly the same, except for this, the document changes spells out the county health department is responsible for the cost of fuel maintenance, insurance, and repairs of vehicles used for county health department operations.
That is correct.
That line is not included in 7C in the contract itself.
That is correct. We had to change that document to say that we are responsible for those changes. The document is presented to us.
Is the old document?
No, it's presented to us from the state. And so any changes we make to it must be added here on the front and signed by our deputy counsel.
So it'll be actually by.
By this document, it is added, yes.
Got it. Okay.
My apologies.
Very good. Okay. What's
I
the
make a
wishes of the
motion
board? Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. I have the next item as
Okay,
well. It's
Deb.
the lease agreement between us and the board for the Board of County Commission. We had a 3-year lease agreement. We're entering a renewal of 1 year. And the lease is of course for no payment. However, the Board of County Commission does agree to pay for the utility costs for the space based on square footage, which is how we charge all of our programs. That's in attachment 1.
Got it. Okay, for the explanation.
Move to approve.
Got a motion from Commissioner McKinney, second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night.
All right. Okay, moving down the agenda, item number 7 is board approval of the Uniti fiber assignment and assumption agreement. Ms. Daniels?
This is to transfer the Uniti Fiber Internet Services from the Board of County Commissioners to Next Step at Endeavor Academy to their own ownership and management.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 8, moving down the agenda, approval of Sandridge Church Road change order number 7. Ms. Daniels?
This is a change order provided by H&B in the amount of $12,000 for the 6 additional mitered ends that were added on Sandridge Church Road during paving project. This will come from D5 discretionary.
Okay. Looking at you.
I know they're looking at me. Jeffrey heard me. I make a motion to approve the request.
Motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner Branch to approve the change order. Any other questions?
Don't bring any more, Jeffrey.
All those in favor of the motion as stated, please symbolize by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item number 9, approval of View Drive change order number 2.
This is a change order to mix and reshape the road to give it a better base before the paving starts in the amount of $92,844.20 from D4 bonds.
Just the entire drive, just out of curiosity, the whole thing, yeah.
Is Daniel on that too? We gotta do
It's the
Daniel that
next
way?
one.
We got another.
Okay. That's right. I'm sorry, I realized that now.
But that road, that base is non-existent.
You better off driving in the ditch.
I make a motion with the request.
Got a motion,
And all the time.
from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner Branch. Any questions? All those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 2 is same thing, Daniel Drive, change order number 2.
Yes,
Got a motion from Commissioner Branch, second
Second.
from Commissioner Peacock. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please symbolize by raising the right hand. All opposed,
I do have one question.
same sign.
Have they said when they're gonna do this?
Yeah.
Next year.
That's what I've been saying since April.
Right, but I talked to them after, couple nights and that, we see how this went through, and so I don't.
We need to get, we need to get with business, don't we?
Get on that.
Needs to happen.
Thank you.
Item number 11, board approval of public works project. Ms.
Jack-
Daniels.
Yes, Jackson Correctional Institute has requested that we patch some potholes on their outside perimeter road. The project would require around 8 to 10 tons of asphalt for a total of approximately $900. And we do recommend that you declare this a public works project.
So move.
Got a motion from Commissioner Branch, second from Commissioner Peacock.
$900 a ton.
No,
$900 total project.
$900.
How will you do that?
10 tons.
We got a patch truck that's now operational?
Got a trailer.
We haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Yeah, we do have the trailer. I did find out. I apologize, Ms. Marie. I signed some stuff that I didn't realize I didn't have the authority to. And, so she's got it taken care of. I just got to run the paperwork back to them so they can get everything right. But we do have a patch trailer, and I talked with the warden and Bo McClammer, and what we'll do is we'll carry our inmates and who's ever the inmate man that day, and they'll go up there and just patch, with shovels and blade times and all that, get it tightened up for them.
Well, they're the ones that supply us with inmates too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they'd be at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost track. Who made the motion?
I had, Branch.
Branch.
You made the motion, you second this motion. Okay, any other questions? You got a question or vote?
No other question, I vote. I
Edward,
just,
ready to
question
go.
I
Been a long
did
meeting.
have,
Been a long
I
meeting.
just thought it might have cheap for 10 ton asphalt for $900.
It's costing us right now about $125.
Yeah.
Don't forget River Road,
Don't forget Cook Road.
Indian Springs Road.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Okay, got, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 12, board approval of a cooperative service agreement with USDA for beaver trapping. Ms. Daniels?
This is an agreement for $7,256.14.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Did they catch any beaver this year?
They did. I don't know exactly.
They charge us by the number of beavers, don't they?
Right.
Okay, I make a motion to approve this request.
How much is it for beaver?
Got a lot of beavers.
Oh, they're everywhere.
How often do they come?
7,000.
Wait a minute. They just come when, say that again.
They're on a cycle, so.
They come when the weather's dry and there ain't no beaver around.
Yeah, so we keep up
get
with
calls about 'em all
a
the
list
time.
of complaints or list of trouble areas, and they keep up with it as well. There's one trapper from here to Pensacola, so he makes a circuit basically. So when he's in the area, he hits his known problem areas, and we get billed on what he catches. So we don't bill on times, just production.
Is there any better system that we could use.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I
It's
get
just
called.
however much money you wanna spend, we can spend on beavers.
Did we spend it all last year? Because it's the same amount each year, isn't it? Or is it?
No, it's not a set contract amount.
Okay.
I never knew we had a problem till.
Oh, yeah, it is. Get the good old boys to take care of them.
Did we get a motion?
I got a motion approved.
Okay, I got a motion from. Did you write something? else
Second.
down, Clay?
I got Peacock, but
I-
making a motion,
I
but I
thought-
did not have a second.
I'll second it.
You got a second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Okay. All those in favor of the motion stated, please symbolize by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item number 13, this is approval of the spray neuter voucher policy. Ms. Daniels?
This is a policy that staff has worked on. A lot of it is in practice, I think, what we do, but it was just compiling it into a place that we actually can reference as a policy. And then also, Sarah, you want to add any specifics on what generated this? It was essentially to have it documented in one place, how to handle these vouchers.
I make a motion, we approve this request.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Clarifications, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 14, this is board approval of grant number HL 219 for the Endeavor Convention Center. Ms. Daniels.
This is a grant agreement for the $1 million legislative appropriation that we received for the Endeavor Convention Center.
Okay.
I make a motion when we approve this, but I want to see the plans. They sent me some and my computer's about that big.
No, we put a hard copy in your box.
No, sir, it's in his box.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, that was a mistake. He doesn't need.
Yeah,
Well,
I actually
I
brought them
saw
by.
them, but,
I brought them by, especially to give to you.
well, I need to see.
They're
Well, you
there.
can take them from his box.
Thank you, I will.
Welcome.
I don't steal.
Okay. All right. Mr. Peacock made the motion. We didn't get a second.
I
did we? Okay. Second from Mr. McKinney. All those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 15, the board approval to engage in cooperative purchasing agreement for PFM financial advisors. Ms. Daniels.
Yes, this is a recommendation to use the DeSoto County, Florida contract for PFM Financial Advisors. The actual contract is the amount $8,000. The $10,000 that's listed in your packet was what we budgeted in the event that we do more than what the contract allows for, but I don't anticipate that.
I have a question. How long is this contract good for?
Is it a 1 year? 3 years. 3 years.
3-year contract.
For $30,000.
Well, in the event that we did not budget for it, there's a notification where cancellation. So if y'all did not budget for it next year, we could send a notice to cancel.
For the explanation,
You approve?
got a motion from Commissioner McKinney. Second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any other questions? Comments, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Peacock voting no. Item number 16, board approval of the special magistrate contract. Ms. Daniels.
Board previously awarded the special magistrate to John McDaniel. This request is to approve the contract for the special magistrate services. The term of the contract is 1 year with the option for 2 1-year renewal periods.
I make a motion to approve the request.
Got a motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Well, when will that get started?
She's already started on some cases.
Okay.
Sure.
My understanding.
With the contract being effective tonight,
preparation for hearings, making sure all our cases are in order. The first one will probably begin in November.
November?
Mhm.
You are slow.
In a quick sort of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the explanation. Got a motion from Commissioner Branch. Second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign.
Wait a minute. We've already voted on this.
Do we?
Yeah,
On the magistrate?
yeah. I made the motion and somebody seconded it and we voted on it.
Been a long meeting, been a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 17 then. Board approval to award 21-22-15 Indian Springs Phase 2 water extension, Ms. Daniels.
Indian Springs Phase 2 Water System Extension was advertised for bid on May 4th, 2022. Two responsive bids were received and opened on June 8th, 2022. This does mean 2022, right?
It does, yeah, they're
Okay.
a year old.
L&K Contracting Incorporated submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $4,492,568. Staff recommends awarding the project to L&K Contracting.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
A motion from Commissioner Peacock. Second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Is this the same contractor that did the other phase?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 18, moving down the agenda. Board approval of stipulated price agreement for Indian Springs Phase 2 water extension.
I will not read the details of this item, but it's the same amount that I referenced previously. And this is to approve the stipulated price agreement.
Okay.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 19, change order approval, board approval of change order number 1 for Indian Springs Phase 2 water extension.
This change order includes a decrease of $550,499.25 from the contract price, which was $4,492,568, for a new contract price of $3,942,068.75 due to value engineering.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner McKinney, second from Commissioner Peacock. Any of those value engineering items that we're concerned about? Or no, it's all changing materials or? The big,
A lot of it was clarifying quantities, making
Okay.
sure, we're only paying for what we need.
okay, got it. Okay, thank you. All right, got a motion from Commissioner McKinney and a second from Commissioner Peacock. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Board approval, item number 20 is board approval of Indian Springs Water Phase 2 notice to proceed in PP.
This is requesting board approval of notice to proceed for Indian Springs Water Phase 2 contingent on receipt of payment and performance bonds from the contractor.
So move.
A motion from Commissioner Peacock, second from Commissioner Branch. Any other questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 22, update on the Jackson Blue Springs lease agreement.
Yes, sir. So, I was able to speak with Taylor Elliott, the owner of Coldwater Excursions, the concessionaire contract we have in Blue Springs. And, able to talk about the year and changes he'd like to make and that sort of thing. So to start off with, one of the questions I've been getting asked is, what was visitation like? So actually, he recorded 34,000 visitors this year, which our 10-year average prior to was 22,000. So quite an increase in visitation. I attribute that somewhat to his expanded services, but also his ability to take credit card payments and things like that. It opened up the ability for people, to pay differently other than just cash. So that was one big benefit. He's doing a lot of guided tours, so he'll get groups together. They'll go out and send a tour guide out, show the you know, the wildlife, the caves, springs, whatever, and all that sort of stuff. So he was very excited. He said he was busier than he expected, so he actually didn't get to do some of the things he wanted to. But moving forward this off season, we're gonna look at making some minor improvements to the facility, rearranging some of the appurtenances, I guess you could say. Since he is focusing a lot on the waterfront activities, he wanted to relocate the volleyball playground, everything up the hill away from, you know, the pavilions and all that sort of stuff, free up more space. So overall went really well, and looking forward to next year, which he does expect to alter the season a little bit. He wants to, similarly to what he's got going on this year, he's working, so Labor Day was the last full week, and he's doing weekends only through the end of September. He's gonna start that earlier next year, probably around our local spring break, do weekends only until, you know, Memorial Day, and open up for 7 days a week throughout that season, so.
With the increased traffic, or with the increased people coming to visit the park, was there any increase in incidents, or was it pretty
No,
much?
sir. I asked him that very specifically, due to not having lifeguards and, you know, additional staff, and no recorded issues. I mean, obviously, I just feel like people are being more careful, so they're not putting themselves in a situation to need assistance.
Brett, I had a gentleman at church ask me about several people in a group wanting to launch kayaks there. I told him to reach out to you and get the information. Is that something he might work with them on?
On or off season?
It's probably gonna be off season. They're already closing out. He act like they wanted to do it next month.
Right, yeah, so all those are funneling through me, absolutely. We're still having, like, we had a church want to do an after-hour baptism and all, so he's really working with a lot of the locals that have events throughout the year.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely, I'll put him in touch with him.
All right, thank you.
That doesn't require any action, so. we'll
No,
move-
just an update. Figured you guys would be curious after the first season of not really having myself or any of my team as a hands-on at the facility, but all in all, went really well. Looking forward to continuing it.
Good, very good.
So we made a little extra money.
Yeah. Yeah. So next up is mine. I'll roll right into update on Merritts Millpond vegetation. So I was able to communicate with the research team just last Friday and somewhat a little bit yesterday to get the schedule, kind of what things are going to look like moving forward. And we're looking at a follow-up treatment starting next week, Monday, Tuesday. Derek left WC, myself and some of my staff, as well as, the research team coming up from Gainesville and other Corps of Engineers. Employees are going to do a repeat treatment at the park. I know we had talked back and forth about maybe doing a downstream at the power lines, but we are starting to get a lot of complaints of new growth above the power lines. And between that and having the research consistency of reapplying in the same location for their tracking and all their methodology, we're going to just reapply. Obviously, like I said, the park will be closed during the week, so no issues there. But anyway, going to start Monday, Tuesday. Plan is to do that treatment, do like we did last time, monitor. They'll be coming out once or twice a week, taking samples, doing, photos and tracking everything, as well as myself and Derek. And then, if we're not seeing the results we want within the next couple months, then, just keep hitting it. If we do see a large die off or kill or whatever, then we'll be monitoring that. And then we've applied for a grant with the help of DHM to help mitigate some of the floating material. That's been a big issue down at the dam. If you rode by from 90, you've seen a lot of that. It is mostly dead or dying, floating. It's not still growing, but it is an eyesore. So what we put together is a grant application to combat algae blooms. So what we're seeing is that floating debris is dead and decaying. So it's altering the water chemistry, elevating water temperatures, allowing additional algae growth and all that sort of stuff, with the potential of, negative human interaction. So what we're proposing is to do, if that's awarded, do a mechanical harvest of some sorts and go in and skim as much as we can off the top and maybe cut even a little below and try to remove all that and free up the water flow and keep that water cycle moving. So
How much of a grant did you apply for?
So I'm not sure. We put in the project, I don't even know if we put a dollar amount on it. So once they say, yeah, it's eligible or whatever, then we can go in and put some, some dollars on it.
Why would we do a mechanical when we know it doesn't work?
Well, this is just to free up the floating material. So I
Just
mean,
all that stuff that you see, which is
Just to
kind of a
free up.
combination of dead
Well,
hydrilla,
right,
duckweed.
right.
There's a lot of dead stuff out there, I know, but I'm thinking we start, and I know they're doing your research, they want to start on the other end. But to me, if you kill the stuff down near the dam, then the pond will flush itself.
But that stuff's dead and it's clogging up. That's what I'm saying. A lot of that material is.
Yeah, but if we had treated that portion of the pond first, it would be gone. It'd float out, it'd be gone. Then you could treat up at the spring and it would come all the way through.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I don't think it would, I mean, the reason it's not floating out now is because the water level's too low, isn't it?
Well, we are struggling with water levels. It's been a fairly dry year, but a lower end treatment first, I don't think would have had any impact on the congregation of dead material on the lower end. Because it's still gonna die. It's still gonna die from the top down. It's just natural. I mean, there wasn't that much more material released from the upper end that flowed all the way downstream. A lot of what's being captured is the downstream material.
So how long is this research project going to last?
Until the hydrilla is eradicated from Merritts Millpond.
Okay.
Can we also work with Dylan and make sure we get a press release out? The fact that we're getting ready,
Sure thing.
we haven't already done it, I may have missed it, but if we haven't, let's make sure.
No, because we just like literally yesterday morning got everything finalized for next week. So that's good.
And I'm thinking that press release, in addition to the second treatment, the second application, probably would be a good idea to let them know that we've applied for a grant to,
Sure thing.
to look at the mechanical removal of all the dead debris as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, that takes us to the items that were added, which is item number 24, board approval of a letter to Florida Public Utilities. Ms. Daniels?
Yes, the letter you all direct us to put together is attached. We can change or add, edit.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Crutchfield and a second from Commissioner Peacock to approve the letter and direct staff to go ahead and send it. Any questions, comments, changes? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for putting that letter together, Luann. Item number 25, request of board approval of a NRCS grant application for Fillmore Drive.
This board approved emergency repairs for the box culvert on Fillmore Drive. County staff and HMB have been working with NRCS for grant funding for this project. NRCS agreed to fund this project and requires a signed application of certification of lobbying. Federal funding in the amount of $1,279,645.25 has been approved. The county will be responsible for $376,366.25.
Where's that money coming from?
Road construction.
Okay,
Okay.
this is the
Good news.
one we had, they came in
Big
here.
box culvert is cracking.
I make a motion, we approve the request.
A motion from Commissioner Peacock, a second from Commissioner Branch. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 26, board approval of change order number 1 for Charm Road. Ms. Daniels?
This change order extends the paving of Charm Road approximately 565 linear feet to the south and includes extending the road 565 linear feet, 24-foot wide of shape, grade, and stabilized 16-foot base and asphalt, 30-inch of sod strip along the west edge of the road, and 5.5 feet wide of performance turf. This is $43,386.08 coming from road construction funds.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
A motion from Commissioner McKinney, second from Commissioner Crutchfield. Any questions? Comments, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising the right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimously.
I thought we had money to do that project.
We do,
I mean, we got a grant or something, right?
we did.
We just didn't get enough. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Daniels, anything else?
I think that's enough.
I
Mr.
know
Peacock.
we've been here forever. But the last time we were here, was the time before Mr. Keith came in and did a presentation on the application that was submitted for funding for the sheriff's department. And there was some question as to whether or not, they could actually build a new building, but the rebuild, if you look in the dictionary, is to make extensive repairs or to restore to a previous state. So what I would like to do is get the attorney to look at this situation and render an opinion so that when this project gets going, some auditor doesn't come along and the county commission be on the hook for $10 or $12 million when it's about half finished. I don't feel comfortable with the board not taking some action to clarify what was presented to us. Because it's blatantly obvious when you look at the application that there was some mistakes made. And by getting her to review it and reach out to whoever she needs to give us an opinion, it might help us down the road.
Well, my only concern is, does it open up a can of worms?
Well, had you rather open it now or open it in the middle of a project when we would maybe on the hook for $20 million?
And you're asking, Michelle?
I want to make a motion that we ask the attorney to review this and render an opinion to the board as to whether or not we are subject to have to pay for this if someone comes along and audits.
Good. Motion.
That's a motion.
A motion from Commissioner Peacock, question from Commissioner Crutchfield.
I went to that, whenever Shane Abbott and Trumbull had the briefing out here at the river. I went to that, and my intent was, both of them was there and they spoke, and the money both of them were given, their intent was to build a new facility.
I understand the intent, but that's not what the application says. That's where you get in trouble. I mean, we're not pulling the wool over their eyes, but some auditor comes along and looks at it. I'm afraid that we'll be on the hook for a half-finished building or something. That's the only thing I see.
I can't believe that went through the House and the Senate and no attorney looked at all of it. It just rolled through.
I don't know.
But what that guy that we don't know from Adam's house, but he come up here and say,
But
I can't see us opening up all this stuff.
But here's the thing, you look at the application, it says to rebuild the Jackson County Sheriff's Department that was destroyed during Hurricane Michael. We had already refurbished that building a year prior. That's where you get into trouble when someone who knows what they're looking at looks at it.
Looked at that.
Huh?
I don't think anybody's looked at it so far.
I want it on the record that I'm raising the point. So if it comes back, don't look at me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
hey, this is Michelle. I had a question, I guess, for Clay. Is this something that you would expect to appear in our audit, this funding? Is this something that you would expect to go through our auditors? It really sounds like Commissioner Peacock is asking for an opinion from an auditor.
I'm talking about the Auditor General.
Yeah, I think it would be part of the audit. The sheriff's office would receive those funds, I'm assuming y'all signed the application. So it goes straight to them and it would be included in their audit. When the auditor does it.
I guess I would ask Michelle, would this be something that you could render an opinion on?
I don't know. So there's two issues. The first being that I do represent the sheriff. I do forfeitures for him. I've actually been doing forfeitures for him longer than I've been the county attorney. So there may be a conflict of interest for me. This may be something that has to be referred to Neighbors Giblin. But the second thing is, I'm not sure that Commissioner Peacock is requesting a legal opinion. I think he's requesting an advisory opinion, maybe from the Auditor General.
I want an opinion, a legal opinion would be great
From the Auditor General?
from whoever. I don't care who they go to.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm in favor of asking the Auditor General to weigh in on this at this time.
I've made a motion.
Got a motion?
So if it passes, it passes. But if it fails, I'm telling you, I'm on record as raising the issue.
The way I look at
Something
it,
I see the board needs to address.
the way I look at it, within a grant application, the word rebuild can be construed several different ways. And, to me, it doesn't, the fact that they're using those dollars to rebuild a new facility.
Well, they're constructing a new.
Well, they're rebuilding it. They're rebuilding it in a
The
new
one they're
location.
rebuilding, the one that was damaged is on